Here at Monza, the opening round of the Blancpain GT Sports Club is about to get underway. The grid is formed and our first of two 30-minute races set to get underway. Slight change for this year. Instead of a 20 and a 40, two half-hour races, so the same amount of track time, but in a slightly different way for the drivers. And there are some new names and some new cars on the grid as well, which is quite interesting for this year. And it's one of the new cars, the Honda NSX, that's on pole position in the hands of Jens Müller, whose racing career goes back quite a good few years because he was, for the Lister team, a regular at Le Mans back in the early noughties, and will be a man to watch here, very definitely, starting from pole position. The grid, as ever, has an awful lot of Ferraris to take on Lamborghini, Mercedes and the Honda. The one Mercedes is of the British driver Lee Mole, who wasn't going to do much racing, if any, this year, and then had a look at the dates and thought, oh, I could do that, and some nice venues there, which is all about the ethos of the Blancpain GT Sports Club. You cater for the gentleman racer, the amateur racer who's got a business to run and doesn't want the hassle of long events or driving against pro drivers that are quicker and having to look in his mirrors all the time, or even share a car. So here, it's one driver per race. The Reno Racing Honda it is that's on pole position, and with it at the front of the grid, Mario Cordoni's Ferrari. There is Coach McKenzie driving his very spectacularly coloured Lamborghini, and on the inside of that row of the grid you've got the newcomer Pavel Strukov in the Stila F service SRL Ferrari. There's 23, Murad Sultanov, Russian driver who we've seen on occasions in Sports Club or in the Blancpain endurance event, and somebody who's got a good track record, Gerard van der Horst, AM category winner in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe, sorry, Lamborghini Cup champion, I should say, comes into Sports Club this year. There is Vadim Kogai. Now, you might remember Vadim Kogai from Blancpain Endurance a few years ago when he had a rather spectacular debut in the series at Monza. We've not seen him for a while, and he's back with Rinaldi Racing and in a championship that I think he will enjoy rather more. There is Lee Mole's Mercedes. Lee, who's come from Ginetta Racing through British GT, was part owner of Triple Eight in the UK for a short time. Further back on the grid, number 111 is the Steve Earle Ferrari. Go back a little bit further, and you have Jolanta Malagamua, and lining up with him, it is Ken Abe in the Ferrari. They're back of the grid, the course cars are ready. It's going to be a rolling start as ever for a Blancpain GT Sports Club race, and shortly the field is going to be released for 30 minutes of racing. At the rear of the grid, number 61 is the Roberto Raineri Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo. So Roberto Raineri, who for many years has campaigned the older generation Mercedes, the SLS AMG GT3s, now got his hands on a different car for the year. The grid is being cleared, and shortly everybody will be released. Track temperature 16 degrees. The sun is doing its best to break through. We've had an awful lot of rain in the week. Today, thankfully, so far has been dry, although rain is forecast overnight and into tomorrow. But let's see how it pans out, because weather forecasts aren't always right. So the pace car, as it is set to lead them away. And the Blancpain GT Sports Club's opening round will, in a moment, get underway. Mario Cordoni on the outside of the front row of the grid was the man that won both races here last year, but I think Jens Müller is going to give him a much tougher time. So Jens Müller on pole position. Mario Cordoni a bit slow away, gets going now. And a chance to get some warmth into the Pirelli tyres on which everybody runs, and then this opening Sports Club race of the year will be underway. So Honda versus Ferrari at the front of the grid. Now you see towards the rear of the field Louis-Philippe Sernan's green and white Ferrari, regular in this series, but he's come from the Belgian racing cars. He's also done the Dutch Supercar Challenge. He likes his big powerful GT cars, does Louis-Philippe. So is it going to be a Mario Cordoni walkover like last year, or is there going to be rather more opposition thrown at him this time around. Let's see, as the car's now ahead towards the second of the chicanes. Jens Müller giving the suggestion that he wants to get on with this, get on with it, have a win. So Jens Müller is on pole position. Mario Cordoni is with him at the front of the grid. Pavel Strukov is on the second row, lining up alongside the pseudonym coach McKenzie. And then on row 3, Murad Sultanov and Gerard van der Horst, new to the championship this year. Lee Mole, another welcome addition to the ranks, is next, lining up alongside returning racer Vadim Korgai. Then we have Steve Earle, who is a massively experienced driver. We'll come to his CV during the race, no doubt. Then the Canadian Rick Lovett is next, another newcomer with his Ferrari. The redoubtable Jalanpa Malagamua, who's, 55 years of age now, about the Sri Lankan, lines up alongside Japanese driver Ken Abe. Next on the grid, it will be Louis-Philippe Cernan, and with him is Bernd Kleinbach in the Attempto Racing run Lamborghini. The grid completed by Roberto Raineri, as the cars now then come down towards the Variante Ascari. Raineri for GDL Racing, Gianluca De Lorenzi's team. And the opening round, 30 minutes, 15 cars, with the classes as ever. We have the Iron Cup and the Titanium Cup for the over 50s and over 60s. And if you're a Ferrari fan, it could well be a good day. Previous champions, going back to the first year when Max Bianchi won the first fledgling series. Ferrari driver Michael Bronizeski in 2016, Ferrari. Anthony Pons in 2017, Mercedes. And then in 2018, Karim Ogier for BMW. Well, he's now gone back into the Blancpain GT series. He's in the Endurance Cup race this weekend. And it's going to be another open race, I suspect. The cars now come towards the Parabolica. The idea of having these races for the gentleman racer against comparable drivers, rather than having to look out for the pro drivers in your mirrors all the time, has always been a good one. But it's strange, some drivers drop in and out, others do a full year and then, having had a go off and do something else, and some stick at it like Steve Earle year after year. But 15's kind of the nucleus of cars into the Parabolica then. Jens Müller, new this year, takes on Mario Cordoni, experienced campaigner. Steve Earle, just quickly, you can trace his international sports car roots back to the very early 1980s, driving in the then equivalent of the World Endurance Championship, the World Sports Car Championship. The American driver does the bulk of his racing in Europe, and this type of activity suits him down to the ground. Lots of track time, and let's see what progress he can make as the cars now then are about to accelerate their way up towards the timing line. If Alain Adon, the race director, is happy, then the instruction will be given to start the race. It is Charles Duval, the man who will control the lights, which are on red at the moment then, as the cars come up towards the end of the formation. Let the race goes green, we're underway, and a good start is made by Jens Müller from pole position. Cordoni goes second, McKenzie goes third on the run down towards turn 1 then. And is it going to be the Honda that leads for the first time into the right and left? At the first chicane, there's a Ferrari on the grass, Vadim Korgai, I think that was, getting 2 wheels on the dirt. He comes around the outside into the chicane, scrambles his way through just ahead there of the Mercedes of Lee Mole, as the cars now power their way up towards the Curva Grande. Jens Müller it is, in the lead of the race then, so the Honda has the advantage as they go up towards the Variante Roggia. And heading up towards the braking zone, it is the Honda leading Cordoni in second place, and then third looks like being Pavel Strukov then, as they go into the Variante Roggia on lap number 1. 30 minutes of racing, we're underway then. Strukov running third, former touring car racer, going after the more experienced GT and sports car campaigners. So out of the Lesbos for the first time, they pour. Coach McKenzie goes through there. The all-green Rinaldi Racing Ferrari of Vadim Korgai, number 111 is Steve Earle. And Earle accelerates now down towards the Variante Ascari for the first time as the race leader tries to get away, and if anything, Jens Müller is getting away from the rest of them here. Mario Cordoni falling away a little bit. Through in third place goes Strukov. In fourth place, Coach McKenzie with the Lamborghini. And so the Blancpain GT Sports Club for 2019, well and truly underway. Down they come into the Parabolica, brake hard, turn right. the fight's on really for third place, seemingly. McKenzie now chipping away at Strukov, as there an effort is made on the inside line coming into the parabolica by Steve Earle to try to find a place, but he can't do it as yet. Up towards the timing line they come then. At the end of the lap, Jens Müller, it is, leading in the Honda. New car, and looking very promising indeed. First time out in his hands. Mario Cordoni in second place. Third is Pavel Strukov. Fourth is Coach McKenzie. Fifth is Murat Sultanov. Then sixth is Kogai. Lee Mole is in seventh there in the Mercedes. In eighth place is Gerard van der Horst. And ninth and 10th, Steve Earle, and then Donato Malagamua. There's Kogai. Green Ferrari in Rinaldi Racing's familiar colours. Goes now up through the Curva Grande. At the back of the pack, it is Roberto Raineri trying to get onto terms with Ben Kleinbach as the cars power up towards the chicane, the second chicane, for the second time. But Jens Müller is going to take some stopping, it looks, at the moment, because he's getting away from Cordoni. Replay of the start, but the horse a little bit sluggish away, but they sprint down towards turn one. Kogai got a good start, but then ran out of road a little bit, I think, because it was that Lee Mole that tried to get the line, and Kogai ended up with two wheels on the grass, scrabbled his way down towards the first corner. No more dramas, thankfully, for anybody, as they wriggle their way in and out. So the cars then now on the run towards the Arianti Ascari once more. There is Vadim Kogai, currently in sixth spot, so he's making progress. But up front, the lead gap going up. It was quicker in sectors 1 and 2 is Jens Müller over Mario Cordoni, who had it all his own way last year here, and now finding himself on the back foot a little bit. Through they turn. Lee Mole in the Mercedes, up to the timing line. Now, Ferrari good with aero, the Mercedes good for grunt. Can Lee Mole get himself back onto terms with the Russian driver as they go down towards turn one? He can, and he pulls to the inside line there. Lee Mole has a look up the inside line. Is he going to be able to outbrake? No, he's not. So Vadim Kogai hangs on to sixth place. Lee Mole has raced here in the past. Comes then now out of the Curva Grande. Raced in the Long Cup with Phil Keane, in fact, and goes up towards the Arianti Rogia once more. But up front, Jens Müller is getting away, although further down the order, Cordoni and then McKenzie do absolute best in the first sector. So Jens Müller certainly good on the first couple of laps. Are now we seeing other drivers getting into a rhythm and starting to feel a bit more confidence within tyres and car and being able to push a bit harder with 5 minutes of the race just about done. Currently separated by 2.2 seconds. The advantage down in sector 1, but up massively in sector 2. There, the Honda gains 0.6 of a second. So it does look as though Jens Müller is going to be very hard to stop in this race. Look at the margin, it's getting bigger and bigger all the time. Try as he might, Mario Cordoni is perhaps the most experienced driver on the grid, and he's certainly not slow. But there's no answer at the moment to the leading Honda. There is a driving standards flag for Lee Mole for driving standards at the start of the race. And a challenge is made there. Steve Earle past Gerard van der Horst going down towards the parabolica. That is a change for 8th place, therefore. Steve Earle goes through, leading his class. Steve Earle, who runs in the Iron Cup. And there is Lee Mole, who's got himself up past Kogai now for 6th place, coming out of the parabolica over the timing line. Leaders go through. Müller to Cordoni is now 3.2 seconds. Jens Müller having done the fastest lap of the race, perhaps no surprise. Former Danish touring car racer Jens Müller. He had a spell, as I say, with the listers at Le Mans with John Nielsen and Casper Elgaard, for example, first in 04, then in 06, but he's had a break of about 6 seasons before coming back to race in the TCR International Series, and now into GT cars. So what about the Mole-Kogai battle? Lee Mole is ahead for the moment as they come up towards the chicane, but Kogai wants that place back, and he's staying on the tail of the Mercedes. Curve a little bit coming out of the chicane, but Vadim Kogai in that Ferrari staying in touch. Can he make a move on this lap? Can he find a way through? Let's see as they come down towards the second of the Lesmo bends. Through. He in turn, in fairness, is getting away from newcomer Pavel Strukov. Strukov started out in the German supercar scene, the DMV Gran Turismo Cup. Now concentrating on GT cars for this year. It's a good place to start as well. You don't have to be a gentleman driver to come into this. It's a good way of learning about GT cars if you've got the budget to do it, away from perhaps the glare of the main Blancpain GT series. Vadim Kogai comes back against Lee Mole down towards the Parabolica. Can't find a way through though. So the race leader over the timing line. It's 3.5 seconds now that Muller has over Cordoni. The best lap of the race is a 1:50.3. Muller's pace is slacking off a little bit, and he's still got enough in hand. Mole keeps Kogai at bay. Now, are they closing on Sultanov? Number 23, Murat Sultanov. Ferrari racer is not that far up the road anymore. It's 1.6 seconds, and last time around the gap was slightly greater. In fact, it has gone up a little, but maybe now Mole and Kogai, if they carry on battling like this, might spur each other on. Up the pace, get a bit closer to that multicoloured Ferrari further up the road. Kogai pulls out, has a look, pulls back in again. Through they turn. So as the Ferrari crawls all over the back there of the Mercedes, a quick look to see that the leader is still building the advantage nicely, but in sectors, Coach McKenzie has done the absolute best of anybody in Sector 1, so McKenzie's closing on Strukov for third place. This for 6th and 7th is still Mole ahead of Kogai. We might yet get a change for third place, the way that Coach McKenzie's going. There he is, and he in turn is being chased hard by Murat Sultanov, so that gap is not a huge one either. So the race leaders now make the run towards the right at the Parabolica, turning their way through. Past the pits goes the Honda, now 4 seconds to the good. It's still Jens Muller with the fastest lap of the race. And then in second place, Mario Cordoni. Pavel Strukov is third, Coach McKenzie there fourth. And he is being caught by Murat Sultanov. So third, fourth, fifth are all concertinaing. There for sixth, Lee Mole versus Vadim Kogai. Has another think about where he can try and unsettle the Mercedes, but Lee Mole, experienced British GT racer, keeping him at bay. Two of them then, almost has one now, turned through the first of the Lesmos. We're on lap 6, the first and third of the race having now elapsed. And Lee Mole dropping away a little bit from Sultanov because he's having to defend now from Kogai like this. Running fourth, incidentally. There he is at the back of the shot in the green Lamborghini, closing on Strukov. He's just done an absolute and a personal best within the sectors. So Coach McKenzie for the HP Racing International team, Harry Prochik's squad, closing again onto the black and blue Ferrari. Pavel Strukov having a pretty good debut here, actually going nicely in that third place. Now, if Jens Muller hangs on to win, and with 4 seconds in hand, you have to say it's looking pretty good for him. This would be the first win anywhere in the world for the NSX GT3 Evo. It made its debut at the Daytona 24 Hours, and this is the car's first race in Europe, and team and driver's first race with the car. So history to be made here. Meantime, whoops, up the escape road have gone both Mole and Cogai. So, not just one, but both of them off, and Lee Mole demolishes the bollards as he tries to get back onto the road. So, he does find the tarmac again. It's all going on. He saw the Ferraris overlapping, and then Cogai and Mole have found themselves in all sorts of strife at the end of the pit straight. It's going to put Gerard van der Horst up ahead of Mole as well. Goes through. How did they get there? Here's the answer. Cogai up the inside. They both brake as late as they dare. Cogai's going straight on, and Lee Mole brakes late anyway, can't make the corner, so just follows him. And Cogai goes up the escape road and back on again, and didn't gain a place, technically, in all of that, but he was ahead pretty much as they got to the escape road. So there goes Vadim Cogai. Lee Mole's car with a little bit of damage, having knocked all the bollards and all the barriers out of the way. The 23 Ferrari, that's Murad Sultanov, and he currently runs in 5th place. But there, the history-making Honda leads. Mario Cordoni in 2nd place, 4 seconds being the margin between them as they head towards the Parabolica this time. Lap number 7, McKenzie in the Lamborghini, the pseudonym German driver, is still closing up onto the back of Pavel Strukov. So that, I still think, could change before the very end. The Lamborghini goes through. Jens Müller still clear in the lead, 4.7 seconds now ahead of anybody else. Coach McKenzie goes by. That lap for him was a 51.1, so he's closer again to Pavel Strukov. But the Ferrari just holds sway on the run down towards the first chicane, so they turn through that sequence of corners now. Coach McKenzie trying to get himself back into contention here. 5th remains Murad Sultanov, and then for 6th, Cogai, 7th is Earl, 8th is Van der Horst, and 9th is Lee Mole, who was ahead when they got to the approach to the corner, and now way back. So it certainly went against him. Didn't just lose out to Cogai, but to the pack as well, Earl van der Horst, and to the time difference as well that has gone there. So Earl is up to 7th, and van der Horst is 8th. Top 10 rounded out by Dilanka Malagamua, who normally comes with the fan club. There are normally lots of Sri Lankan flags and lots of family and friends in the grandstand, but they, I don't think, are here this weekend, which is a great shame. But Dilanka Malagamua, TV presenter as well as racer in Sri Lanka, he runs the Sepang race school in Malaysia. He's raced all over the globe in all sorts of random things, but it's good to have him racing for another season in Europe. At the rear of the field, Roberto Raineri. There's Coach McKenzie, still tonking along in 4th place, and leading his class as well is McKenzie, because he's in the Titanium Cup. For the over 50s, you've got the over 60s and the over 50s. There, Mario Cordoni comes into the braking zone for the Parabolica, but it's a rather frustrating Mario Cordoni, I would think, because he's quicker than anybody else, but not as quick as the dominant race leader Jens Müller. He's in no man's land. He is just stuck in that 2nd place, knowing as well it's likely to be like this tomorrow, unless somebody has a word in Jens Müller's ear overnight. But that Honda is a very new car, but a very quick one as well, whereas of course the 488 Ferrari is getting on a bit, relatively speaking. Now for 3rd place, McKenzie makes a move to the inside line. Pavel Strukov moves across. It's still going to be the Russian driver that hangs on to that 3rd place, but a little bit deep maybe out of turn 2. No, he gets away with that. So Coach McKenzie, as we go into the 2nd half of the race, now still crawling all over the back of him, but he can't find a way by. That really was McKenzie's first proper, serious bid. It didn't come to anything, admittedly, but he's now very much making his move. They go through the left and right, out of the Variante Rogia, and in 5th place behind them now, Murad Sultanov, hoping they hold each other up and he can claw back some of the lost ground. Vadim Cogai, 6th. And that, way off the road, is the Ferrari of Strukov. He's lost his 3rd place. He was nearly struck off altogether after that, but Pavel Strukov just about saved it, keeps it off the wall, but he loses one spot to Coach McKenzie and another one now to Murad Sultanov, who's at the inside line. The Ferrari through on the inside. The 488 switched places. Sultanov ahead of Strukov as they come down to the Variante Ascari. That could have been a whole lot worse. That was quite a save by Pavel Strukov, but very nearly scattered cars everywhere. So Coach McKenzie after a bit of a brown trouser moment, finds himself up into third place, trying to get away. Here is the start of it. Sideways interview, launched into the gravel. And Pavel Strukov back onto the road. McKenzie on the grass in avoidance. Code Brown moments all concerned. But he's up to third, he's gone through, he's done the job. And that is Strukov again. That's at the Parabolica. He's facing the wrong way. This time he has been struck off, so he'll get going again, hopefully. If he can find a gap in the traffic, he's got to go against the flow, round the corner, really, to see what's coming. And now he gets going once more. So big frustration after a good first half of the race for Pavel Strukov. And how did he get there? Probably gravelly tyres. Lack of grip. Turns in and just way round goes the back. 12.5 minutes to go. Order now well shuffled, isn't it? Apart from for the lead. So the Honda of Jens Müller still well clear now by 6 seconds. Looking at third and fourth here, Coach McKenzie and Murat Sultanov. Sultanov now out of first of the Lesmo corners. But as he accelerates through, you've got the Ferrari still chipping away. Murat Sultanov, relatively inexperienced, but taking the battle to McKenzie here. Coach McKenzie, who's raced in GT4, he's raced in International GT Open, he's had, I think, one outing in British GT from memory a long time ago, but also he's raced in the DMV, the German club level Saloon Car Cup, and swings his way out of now the Variante Ascari, down again towards the Parabolica, with there behind him, look, Murat Sultanov not dropping away. Vadim Kogai up into 5th place now. Kogai having clear road ahead of him. Now, can he benefit? Can he lap quicker than those ahead of him? The answer is yes, he can. He's got quite a bit of time to make up, like 5 seconds or so, but he's going the right way about it. Honda fans worry not. Jens Müller, there he is. He's still well clear up the road. He's almost into race 2, in fact, such is the pace of that car. He's 6.6 seconds ahead of Mario Cordoni. Coach McKenzie it is that runs in 3rd place, and then Murat Sultanov in 4th. So the car's then currently on lap 11. 11 minutes to go, as to the inside line looks. Sultanov looking a bit more committed to this, isn't he now? Staying on the back of McKenzie, realising that you've got a proper chance here at making progress. Down they come into Variante Rogia, and they're back on the power towards the first of the 2 Lesmo corners now. GT fans, it's a great weekend here. You've got Sports Club, you've got the Blancpain GT series, you've got the GT4 cars, so there's so much for sports car fans to look at. And Monza was where the very first Blancpain Endurance Series, as it was then called, race was. It's always therefore the home of the opening round of the Blancpain GT series, and the Sports Club, a very welcome part of the programme this weekend. The Sports Club initiative has always been a very good one, and down they dive into the Variante Ascari once more. Great to see newcomers like Lee Mole, for example, on the grid. Ben Kleinbach, another driver we don't see very much of. Ken Abe, new. Gerard van der Horst, new, looking for a different challenge for this year. Vadim Kogai coming back and for 3rd place now. Do we get a challenge? We do. Murat Sultanov has a look on the inside, but no, can't do it. Have a look behind, because Kogai last time was 5.5 seconds back. Can he do anything about these 2? He still looks quick enough, and especially if they're going to squabble, that's just going to delay them. 9.5 minutes are on the clock now. Through they go. So into the braking zone. Coach McKenzie fends off the Ferrari, but for how much longer, I wonder. Sultanov still pushing. The gap over the line was 3/10. And now the cars go to the second chicane with the margin perhaps just extending ever so slightly. Can Sultanov bring the gap down under braking? So nose to tail they run, bouncing over the curb there. The Lamborghini, McKenzie, you can tell, feeling the pressure a little bit. You've got then in 5th place, still chipping away behind them, Vadim Kogai. He is bringing the gap down. He was down by 4/10 last time, and he's also just done a personal best within the first sector. So Kogai pushing, pushing, pushing. Out of the second Lesmo corner comes the lead group. And there, Mario Cordoni in a very lonely second place. Jens Müller, the race leader, incidentally, has just done another absolute best in a sector, middle sector. And he's already done the fastest lap of the race, but he might better that as the fuel load comes down more before the end. 8 minutes to go. So Müller, 7.5 seconds up on Cordoni, Mackenzie third. There is the Honda. Remember, it is set for a maiden win. A new car, new project. Jens Müller with a new team. Reno Racing, his middle name being Reno. And over the timing line goes Jens Müller. There's going to be some lappery, is there not, as well, imminently, because Roberto Raineri is only just up the road ahead of him in the GDL Racing Lambo. There is the Honda. We've got the NSX also running within Blancpain GT series this year for Bob Neville's team. Because of the Jensen-Button connection to that team, a brawn-type colour scheme from Jensen's World Championship winning year. But I've got to say, it looks a very good car in the colours that the Reno Racing squad run it in. There's the NSX, down it comes into the Roger chicane. The Danish driver goes through then now pushing on. The NSX GT3 Evo. 8 seconds now clear of Cordoni. Mackenzie it is that runs third, just ahead of Sultanov. That gap still hovering around the 3/10 of a second mark, and there might even have been a change in the background. Was that a black Ferrari that came out of the chicane ahead? Let's just see if we can wait and have a look at what it develops for third place, because I thought Mackenzie had lost out. He has lost out, because there Murat Sultanov has gone through up into third place. Out of sight, it's happened, so Sultanov is third, down to fourth again. He spent most of the race fourth, is Mackenzie, and Vadim Kogai is fifth, doing his level best to inch up onto their tail as well. Murat Sultanov then, with 6 minutes on the clock, looking as though he might yet be able to shake off Coach Mackenzie. Now, if Mackenzie, having lost a place, gets all a bit dejected about life, is that going to give Kogai a chance to close yet more? The gap was 5.5 seconds, then it became 4, and he's brought the gap down again within sectors on this lap. So Vadim Kogai is certainly chipping away. Makes you wonder what might have happened had he not been up the escape road, which, of course, compromised things because of the chicanes put in there to slow the cars down. But Kogai is certainly pushing hard now. Through they come, over the timing line to put now 13 laps in the book. Jens Müller still clearing the lead of the race. Gap's come down, 6 seconds. Now, is that Müller traffic? It must be, because he's got the Raineri Lamborghini ahead of him. I don't think he's got a problem. He's still got time in hand, so I think Jens Müller is just slacking his pace off a little bit. Sultanov there, keeping Mackenzie in bay, third and fourth as they go through. So with Pavel Strukov, we saw having his couple of spins early on, way back now in 13th place. He's the one that's struggled really to get back onto terms with anybody in this, but Mackenzie is fighting back against Sultanov, so that gap comes down a little bit more, got more drama. Oh, this is how the change happened. So Mackenzie got it wrong at turn 1, off the road, over the curb, delayed himself enough to enable Sultanov to go through. Coach Mackenzie, after that little mistake, dropped off the back of Sultanov a second time. What about Kogai behind him? 4 seconds last time, it came 2.5 on that last lap. So Vadim Kogai is certainly closing up. So there, third, fourth and fifth, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Ferrari. Vadim Kogai tigering along. He's come back into the Blancpain fold as a much improved driver, and he's doing green sectors all around this lap, sector 1, sector 2. So Vadim Kogai doing a pretty impressive job now of chipping away. I know Mackenzie's had a couple of offs, but even so, the gap's coming down. And now, as they sprint towards the Parabolica, we've got 4 minutes on the clock. Kogai might yet be able to have a go for a place here. Through they turn. Jens Müller leading by 5.3 seconds now. The gap is coming down. Maybe this is Müller just driving within himself. He knows he's got a big enough margin over Mario Cordoni. Flash of the lights at Roberto Raineri now from Murat Sultanov. He's got McKenzie tucked up behind him. There is Vadim Kogai still running in that 5th place. And Kogai 1.6 seconds back, another personal best lap last time. So he's going to be up with them on this lap, especially if there's traffic in the way. There is Sultanov, McKenzie on his tail, 3 more minutes. What are they lapping at? 1 minute 52. McKenzie tries one side, can't do it. Slots back in behind now as they come up towards the Variante Roggia. So there, Coach McKenzie forced his way up to 3rd, made a mistake, fell back again. Got to do it all over again now. Can he do anything about Sultanov before he's caught by Kogai? Down they head towards the Ascari chicane. This is lap number 15, and there's going to be time for possibly 2 more laps at the end of it, depending on where Jens Müller is in relation to the clock, where he crosses the timing line. So the leaders come through. And down to the Parabolica, you look at Sultanov, McKenzie, and then Kogai behind. Leader goes through. He's got 2 more laps, looking at the clock, Jens Müller. Now there, lower down the order, number 12, that is Canadian driver Rick Lovett, who is on the back of Dilantha Malagamua, the Sri Lankan I was talking about earlier on. And all of a sudden, we've got the other half of the field together, because Ken Abe is in this mix, and then Louis-Philippe Cernan in the green and white Ferrari. And at the back of all of them is Pavel Strukov trying to get himself back into the mix. So number 24 there, Dilantha Malagamua, keeps them at bay. Malagamua, who has the car run by HB Racing, comes now up towards the timing line. And he's under attack, very definitely, from Rick Lovett, the Canadian driver on his tail as they go past the pits. Lamborghini versus Ferrari, then behind the pair is Ken Abe, the Japanese driver. Ferrari challenge regular both in Europe and the Asia Pacific Series, and Abe tries for a place, but behind him there is a change, and that's Strukov going ahead of Louis-Philippe Cernan. So, treble 7, Pavel Strukov there goes through. Behind all of them, there's Ben Kleinbach in the number 100 Lamborghini. Experienced GT racer, but after an 8-year layoff, came back at the back end of last season in the Barcelona and Misano Sports Club races. 3rd, 4th, 5th with a lap to run at the end of this. It is still just Sultanov from McKenzie from Kogai as they come now out of the Ascari chicane. The Parabolica they come, but the race leader is about to break the beam and go on to his last lap. Jens Müller, with the clock ticking on down, goes through onto his last lap now. 2nd place Mario Cordoni, the gap is down again, 4.5 seconds, but Jens Müller driving as though everything is perfectly under control. He's proved the point, he's done the fastest lap of the race. He's now lapping a little bit slower than earlier, but it matters not. But it does matter for 3rd, because this is up for grabs. Sultanov, McKenzie together down towards the 1st chicane. 5th place, Vadim Kogai, almost with them. Kogai now 8 tenths back. There's only 3 tenths, Sultanov to McKenzie, but that move didn't work at the 1st chicane, so the gap widens once more. Coach McKenzie needing to be careful here, because he might end up losing time against Sultanov after making a failed bid, and that bringing Kogai into position, and indeed him getting ahead. So the cars now sprint towards the Variante Roggia for the last time. Coach McKenzie, and they're bouncing all over the curb, Kogai. You can see the commitment being put in. He saved that one. And as they come towards the first Lesmo curve now, Vadim Kogai is almost on the back of Coach McKenzie. But then having got there, is he going to run out of time? Down they go towards the Ascari chicane. And as they come to the corner, is this going to be an opportunity for Kogai to have a go at McKenzie? Not quite, but he's certainly closed. He's hustled this gap down from over 5.5 seconds to now 8/10 starting this last lap, but it is going to be a race win for Jens Müller. It's going to be the first win for Renault Racing. It's going to be the first win for the Honda NSX GT3 Evo. History made at Monza. Jens Müller comes across the line to win the opening round of the Blancpain GT Sports Club. Second will be Mario Cordoni, who comes through in second place. And third is this battle here. Murat Sultanov just ahead of Coach McKenzie, just ahead of Vadim Kogai as they come pouring over the line. But an excellent race for Jens Müller, away and gone. No stopping him in that. And the gap at the end, 4.4 seconds. He let the gap come down a little bit, but driving well within himself, Jens Müller. So Renault Racing, a new team, and running this Honda, this new project, with great success. Gerard van der Horst comes over the line for 7th, ahead of Lee Mole, who was delayed early on. And off the road on the very last lap, Ken Abe at the Parabolica. The Japanese driver off the road, and as he's in the gravel, we've got the team manager and the driver of car 44 to the stewards immediately. So Lee Mole and his team manager are being summoned straight away, and Lee's still in the car, so there's no messing there from the steward's office. So team manager and driver of car 44 to the stewards immediately. Not quite sure what it's all about, but they want a word. So, Jens Müller, it is. Experienced driver, new car to him, new car to the championship, new car to the team, new team. And there is how Ken Abe came to grief. He was given a nudge by Pavel Strukov. Louis-Philippe Cernan going wide as well, so Ken Abe off at the last corner. I seem to remember something similar happened last year, late race on the last lap. We had people falling off the road or near the end and causing red flags and stoppages. Anyway, this year it's nothing like last year for Mario Cordoni when he was the runaway winner. This year he's a rather frustrated second behind Jens Müller in the prodigiously quick Honda, and he comes through to score honours in this opening Blancpain GT Sports Club race of the year. For Renault Racing then, it is Jens Müller who wins. Second, Mario Cordoni in the AF Corsa run Ferrari, and third, Murat Sultanov in the Kessel Racing run Ferrari. Fourth goes the way of Coach McKenzie in the Lamborghini, ahead of Vadim Kogai, and then sixth, Steve Earle, who wins his class. Coach McKenzie, a class winner as well. Seventh, Gerard van der Horst, newcomer ahead of another newcomer, Lee Mole, and then Tadampa Malagamua. Ninth, Rick Lover, another newcomer. Welcome to see all these new names. He's 10th ahead of Pavel Strukov, who was a little bit feisty towards the end. He's 11th, 12th, Louis-Philippe Cernan, Ben Kleinbach, 13th, and then Roberto Raineri will inherit 14th with the demise of Ken Abe right at the very end. So there is Jens Müller, who arrives into the Parc Ferme area. The incident between Abe and Strukov is under investigation as well. And there, Jens Müller will clamber out of the car, no doubt a happy man. He's got the experience and the ability to be a very good am within the Blancpain GT series, but electing to race on his own, which is perfectly understandable. He so care. Single driver races, and with this new project, the Honda NSX Evo GT3 scores its first win anywhere in the world in the hands of Jens Müller, and the team very happy indeed. Perfect job. And as the drivers then pose in a moment for photographs, they'll then go to the podium, and it's a happy Jens Müller celebrating. Get the helmet off in a moment. Mario Cordoni is all smiles despite being a rather lonely second in that race. And the AF Corsa squad operating a fleet of cars in the Blancpain GT series, and of course a number of the cars in Sports Club as well. Mario Cordoni thinking, well, last year I didn't see anybody because I was away in the lead. This year I've not seen anybody because they're ahead of me and I'm in second place, but they're being marshalled towards the podium. Mario Cordoni, experienced racer. In the background, Jens Müller is being marshalled into place for his first interview as a race winner in Blancpain GT Sports Club. And Jens Müller is with Dakota at the end of our opening race of the season here at Monza.
A massive congratulations. Your first time racing in Sports Club and a victory for you. How good does that feel?
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic car. We made a great job for the pre-season test, so I'm pretty happy. I was confident this morning after the free practice, but yeah, it's nice to win like this.
And tomorrow?
Maybe rain. I've never driven a car in rain, so let's see.
Let's get ready. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, Jens Müller. Excellent drive. Never headed. Dominated qualifying, dominated the race. And it's fascinating, isn't it, to see the way a new car comes into the series and straight on the pace. You kind of get the feeling that the Ferrari is always going to be the car to beat because there are more of them and they're being run by an experienced team, of course. But here's the new Honda, and Renault Racing arrives and a dominant win. Mario Cordoni talking in the background there to Steve Earle as the cars make their way away from the Parc Ferme area. Quick look back at some of the highlights of the race, with Jens Müller taking the advantage straight away. Vadim Kogai on the dirt as he tried to get past Lee Mole down towards the first corner. Those two would come into not quite contact, but certainly have their own moment at the chicane a little bit later in the race. But Kogai making good progress. The battle between him and Lee Mole raged on until Kogai outbraked himself at the end of the pit straight. A Mole went with him. Up the escape road went both. Vadim Kogai quickly adapted to what needed to be done and wriggled his way through. Then off the road bounced Pavel Strukov. Oh so nearly took Coach McKenzie with him as he got back on. And there was another incident for Strukov before the end of the race. But there was also this one in the middle of the three dramas that he had. That was the second spin as around he went at the Parabolica. Eventually he got himself back in the right direction. Sultanov and McKenzie argued over third. McKenzie did go through, but then made a small mistake and lost the place back again. Up front, though, there was just no stopping Jens Müller, who came through to score an easy race win with Mario Cordoni in second place. And the debut win, the maiden win, I should say, for the Honda NSX GT3 Evo comes in Blancpain GT Sports Club here at Monza. So that was the scene of dramas at the very end of the Sports Club race, and the podium is being made ready. So is the pit lane, because those cars for the Blancpain GT series with the pre-qualifying for the Endurance Cup race this weekend, they're getting ready as the temperature drops as we get towards the early evening, and 90 minutes of track activity is afforded to them. So we await the drivers on the podium. So as the drivers are all rounded up, ready to go to the podium. Next stop for the Blancpain GT Sports Club in the 2019 season will not be until the end of May, early June, when they go to Paul Ricard, then to Misano, then to Spa, not for the 24 hours, but the week before, when they will run with British GT, and then to Barcelona at the end of the season. So, drivers are ready. And as the drivers step forward, podium is ready, and we await for the top step, Jens Müller. The drivers make their way forward with the third-placed Murat Sultanov there, Mario Cordoni, and then race winner Jens Müller to join him on the podium. We're at Monza for the opening round of the Blancpain GT Series for 2019. It's the first Endurance Cup race, and this pre-qualifying session is already underway. It lasts for 90 minutes, and this could be all important because weather for tomorrow is predicted to be wet, and it could be that it's so wet in the morning that the cars can't even go out and qualify, in which case the grid would have to be based on the times in this session. So there's more importance than ever. Teams are looking at running new tyres in this, which otherwise will be earmarked for qualifying. It's going to be fascinating to see what develops in the next 90 minutes. David Addison and John Watson trackside. And John, you've been looking forward to this all day.
Well, it's going to be, in my view, probably the key session up to the point when qualifying is due to take place, which would be on Sunday morning. Now, the weather that we've been talking about, we talked about it earlier in the morning, we're talking about it again. I've had a straw poll up and down the pit lane, and the consensus is that actually the biblical rain that we were predicting 24 hours ago to fall over 4 a.m. Sunday morning all the way through Sunday is reducing and reducing and reducing. And that's kind of throwing a spanner in the works of many of the teams in the pit lane, because had that weather pattern been consolidated, unquestionably many of the teams that are, certainly the pro teams, would have run more than one set of the dry Pirelli tyre, because that's where they were going to end up with the grid. The grid would have, if it had been no qualifying or restricted qualifying, it would have been certainly, that would have been the formation of the grid. Now teams are thinking, well, it looks like we will have qualifying. It will be wet, but it will be drivable wet. It'll not be of flood proportions. So some might just do it, get a banker in the event that the forecast reverts back to what was originally being suggested would be weather conditions on Sunday morning.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Certainly, because some teams are going to gamble on the weather going either way. But this pre-qualifying session then is for 90 minutes. You see the tyres being swapped over.
Yeah, and those look pretty fresh to me.
Yeah. Now, we had a funny old session for free practice earlier on, because we had, what, 3 interruptions, and we never really got going with times, although, I grant you, it wasn't about doing a good lap. This is. But are we going to see anything like the same pattern from this morning being replicated in this? I rather doubt it, to be fair.
Well, I think everybody who will start the session on a fresh set of tyres will get their best laps in early into that run. Those that opt to put on a new set of dry weather slick tyres towards the end of the session to get that banker lap in will suddenly find themselves up the timing. I mean, you could be running maybe outside the top 20 on a set of race tyres, running a lap time which would be a very competitive race lap time. But because you may not want to start outside the top 20 for all the obvious reasons of traffic and potentially visibility if the track would be wet at the start of a race, so therefore 1 or 2 or maybe more of the teams will take, well, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
It's a gamble. The prospect of it being dry Sunday morning is minuscule. The prospect of it being drivable wet, nearly 100%. So the grid ultimately will be resolved in a wet qualifying practice Sunday morning, and all this will have been for nothing in effect.
Well, right now, Seb Morris for Team Parker Racing is the fastest in the Pro-Am Bentley, a 1:48.956. Now, the best we had in free practice was a 47.7 from Marcus Winkelhock. So it's Seb Morris from Klaus Bachler, and then Matt Campbell in the Rover Racing Porsche. Porsche second and third behind Bentley at the moment, because Klaus Bachler also is Porsche mounted.
Yeah, the Seb Morris Bentley in that session this morning did a time exactly 1 second quicker than his current fastest time as we stand just, what, 2 laps and a bit. We've got an hour and 21 minutes of this 1.5 hour session remaining.
There's Winkelhock, who was good, as I say, this morning. Seb Morris, 48.956, the top time. What does Winkelhock do as he breaks the beam? He does a 51.106. It's quite a gentle start-up lap. Dries Van Thor, though, is 4th fastest. Now Winkelhock goes 6th, 1:50.040.
But I'm not seeing any purples coming up in their timing and scoring. I'm seeing a lot of greens being personal best. So, again, the tyre that people are on is most likely, well, there's a fresh set of tyres, sticker tyres being put on. Now, somebody thinks this is the right time to do that. That's... I'm trying to recognise the idea of these new WRT colours.
That, I think, is the 17 car that Paul Petit was tapped into a spin with in free practice. Alex McDowell is shown as being behind the wheel of that car at the moment, and the Australian, Shay Davis, coming from Porsche's in Blancpain GT Series Asia, is the third driver.
In my travels around the paddock, I did actually bump into Ezequiel Perez Compact. And I said, oh, what's it like driving the same engine, same transmission, but in an Audi aerodynamics? He's very happy.
I should think so.
There are a number of driver changes that have taken place over the wintertime, his being one of them. Delighted to be a part of the WRT team.
He's no slouch, and he's in a good team. As there, another of the WRT fleet arrives. That's the Charles Weertz car, which he shares with Rick Brokers and Ricardo Sanchez. Good combination of drivers.